All right, Clark, first things first, great meeting you Sunday. You have questions on this, please let me know. Just going to look at the left frame here and just watch your approach here, how you kind of dip your shoulders. As you start here, you dip down and then it causes you to kind of come back up and then ultimately jump into the ball. Try to keep yourself tall through the ball, keep your feet flat, try not to dip, stay tall through the ball. You hear me say that a lot. So next thing I'm going to talk about, just look how your shoulders are more facing toward the sideline, as is your left plant foot. I have a feeling it's probably pointing behind the ball. At a minimum, you want it right at the ball or slightly in front. That'll make a little bit more sense in a second. So as you come through the ball, a little jab, 1-2 kick. That's fine here. Again, that's just you're coming at this ball a little bit of a sharp angle. You actually do a really good job of getting yourself square here, which is impressive. But one thing I'm going to tell you is your plant foot a little bit too far from the ball. Okay, causes you to reach, and ultimately it pulls your hips off to the right. You can see that ball automatically going off to the right a little bit. Okay, you can't quite get as tight to the ball as you need to be. Right now you hit the ball more on the top of your foot. Okay, we really got to take that foot, and instead of hitting it on the top of your foot, you got to turn that toe down and away. I know we talked about this on Sunday. Really focus on that snap down. I'm going to send you our training program. Get that toe down and away. Great drills is the leg lock drill to do that. Okay. The other way we can see that, see how you're striking the turf. You see that turf coming up, and you're actually hitting the block a little bit. Okay. You're going to get a much better much cleaner hit, if you will, on the ball by getting that toe down and away at impact. Okay. The other thing that this does here, your toe comes up. As a result, when that toe comes up, you come more across your body and you kind of cut yourself off. You kick and stick a little bit instead of kick and skip. So let's just be conscious of that. Come down, lock out, get this plant foot a little bit closer, inch or two, turn that toe down and away to get a cleaner hit. Get your plant foot again closer, but get your hips more square to the ball. Just by being closer and having your toe down and away, that will help you be a little bit more square. So any questions on that, let me know. Again, you get a nice flexible leg. You do a great job here locking your leg. Just keep that toe down, pointed toward your target, so that it will help pull you toward your target and drive your hips up and through the ball. Lastly, on this front frame, just looking at the upper body, you do a pretty good job here of staying relatively balanced. I like that. Your arm, again, is nice and out to the side when you swing back. I'm just going to point out here, when you strike the ball, ideally you want to be a little bit more at a 45-degree angle with that ball instead of out in front like you are now. Because again, eventually when you're out in front like you are, you cross over here. And so you see this little X here? We want to try to avoid that. We want to be more, as you strike the ball, or as you finish rather, meet the hand out in front. Here you're kind of crossing over, and again everything kind of stops. You kick and stick. All right, let's take a look from the side. Again, right off the bat, you can see your shoulders facing the sideline. My kind of rule of thumb is I shouldn't be able to see what's written on your shirt here, which obviously I can. So I'd really work on that. And as I said before, this left foot is pointed toward the sideline. Again, what that's going to do is create more of a sharper, flatter swing around on the ball as opposed to a more golf swing coming up and through. So let's really work on that. Now's the time of the year to try this out. Try to get your hips more square as you're starting out. Try to get that plant foot at least pointed toward the target, toward the ball. You have time to experiment with it. Now's the time to do it. So as you go through this here, let's take a look. Again, you see that dip down in the shoulders right off the bat. Okay? Be conscious of that. And you kind of turn your shoulders here. Again, you're still facing the sideline. You do a pretty good job of getting yourself squared up. And I do like that you're relatively tall to the ball. You're slightly behind. But this leg lock, you want to see this snap down motion. You're almost kind of on top of the ball here where you're hitting the ball in the downswing. Okay? Your leg is pointed here. You want to have your leg kind of pointed here and then hitting the ball in the upswing. You're hitting them more on the downswing, if that makes sense. You lock out. And it just creates a lower trajectory. You want to get that lift on the ball, that strike and lift. So just be conscious of that. excuse me here. Nice finish in terms of leg contact and swinging relatively toward the target, but I'm going to point out here you're kind of sitting down again. That is a result of just having to reach for the ball a little bit. And it's hard to tell from this angle, but we saw it over here where your plant foot was a little far from the ball. When you have to reach, you tend to kind of, I call it a dip and rip, or sit down a little bit more, and you can't quite get that up and through swing. Your body wants to go up more, your hips are more flat at the ball here, okay, as opposed to being back on the ball slightly and hitting the ball in the upswing where your hips are now more up and through. So take a look at this a couple times, watch it, let me know if you have questions. Some positives here, again, just try to work on these little details. Now's the time of year to kind of tweak some of these things. The big thing is doing dry runs, doing the leg locks, kick and skips. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.